Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 4. So we are, I think, almost a week, or maybe it's exactly a week, depends when I upload this video at the very least, since the panel for the fourth and final season of Superman and Lois at Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con, whichever way you want to word it. And just due to me being busy, we are finally getting around to actually talking about what was said within the panel itself. We did do a video going over some of the stuff from interviews, like outside of the actual panel at All H. But we haven't talked about, I guess, the majority of the stuff talked within the panel. But we did mention in, I think, that video going over the interviews, which I think was my most recent Superman and Lois video before this one, I think. But I did say that in the panel they did say that there will be a new suit for season 4, though we don't know the real specifics around that, whether that means a black suit for Superman to sort of fit in with that Death of Superman storyline, or it's just a new Superman suit that we would expect Superman to wear with like the blue and red color scheme, maybe with some added features here or there. That's a wait and see, of course, but we just know we're getting a new suit. We don't know, it could be like not until episode 8 or something like that, but then again, we could see it like whenever the episode is that Superman comes back, whether it's episode 3 or episode 6 or whenever that is. But it was Bitsy Tulloch, aka Lois Lane, that said there would be a new suit. It wasn't just like a person on the intercom. And she did specify, I guess, in regards to what to expect when she said that, there'll be new features compared to the previous. So I guess we'll have to just see what it's like when the episodes start coming out, whenever that episode is that the suit debuts or premieres. And I just feel like we won't see that new suit until the episode that it's in does debut. Maybe it could be in a poster closer to the show premiering the final season, or maybe just that specific episode, maybe, but I don't know. But speaking of posters, wonderful segue, we did actually get a new poster for this fourth and final season of Superman and Lois, and this was actually initially, I guess, an exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con. Now, people that actually went to the panel in All H actually got this poster handed out to them, I think like a proper size poster and stuff like that, so lucky ducks. It's a very cool looking poster, as you can see, with Doomsday featured in there fighting Superman, as well as Luthor's building in the background to the right here. Everything else is pretty standard though. There's nothing really too much to note. You just, get that. However, there's one thing, and that's Lex Luthor himself. At first I didn't notice it. When I saw it was just like people taking a photo of their phones or actually at the panel and stuff and uploading it. And then someone uploaded a more clearer photo, and we'll reference this person later in the video as well. And I'm like, is he wearing an exosuit? Am I the only one who thinks that's an exosuit? I know it could be a rock parting, like forming into that asteroid thing, but it seems like it's connected to Lex Luthor there. So is he wearing an exosuit? Are we actually going to get Lex Luthor wearing an exosuit in this season? I thought we weren't going to get that at all. I thought that if there was any version of Lex Luthor on a show that's had Superman and stuff like that, where I guess he has some sort of presence, that wasn't going to wear an exosuit, I thought it would be this version. I thought we were going to get a super, I know I hate the term grounded being overused, but it's probably the best term to use here, like a super grounded version of Lex. So if he is going to wear an exosuit, that's pretty crazy. But then again, push might come to shove and he has to have some sort of physical force against maybe Superman or maybe Superboy in the form of Jordan. So I don't know, am I going crazy? Am I the only one that thinks that's an exosuit? Do you think it's something else, or do you agree with me? And where do you think he's going to use it if that's the case? I'm surprised by it. But let's actually jump into what went down at the panel for Superman and Lois at San Diego Comic-Con around a week ago on Saturday. That would have been, the 27th, I think, of July anyway. These bits of information are coming from Sarah Sharp 1231 on Instagram. So big shout out to Sarah. I think she might have been the first to actually show like a good quality photo of the exclusive poster online, because that's where I saw it initially. I got it linked to me and I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't think they would release it online, but then they, like the socials and stuff were, the various socials for the show eventually posted the poster, but Sarah was the first one to, I think, post like a good quality photo of it, and then she posted this information as well. But the first thing she reveals is actually an extra bit of the sneak peek we received. Of course, we saw the fight between Superman and Doomsday in space, where it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger with Superman looking like he's about to, not sacrifice himself, but he knows that this is it, like he might die here. But there was more to it. And this is what Sarah had to describe. Lois is in the kitchen looking at the "it went by so fast" picture frame. We flash back to the moments after Clark told Lois he's Superman. She's looking at the same picture. Clark comes in and tells her his mum left the farm to give them some privacy. She asks why he told her. He tells her how much he loves her. She asks about him overhearing what she said to Janet about falling in love with him, even the part about him being dorky. He says he sometimes is a little dorky and that it was the best day of his life. Lois kisses him and suggests they go upstairs. Clark, embarrassed, says it's his first time. Lois thinks he means the first time in his childhood bedroom and says they'll turn Cal Ripken around. He clarifies what he means. She says she loves him and that he's the only one for her and tells him he's about to have a new best day of his life. We come back to the present and Lois presses her ELT, which is obviously that little like pager thing, if you want to call it, you know, that alerts Superman and asks Clark where he is. And then this is when we go to space and we pretty much get that fight. So that's pretty much a lot of this, like a decent flashback scene, I guess. I don't know how long it would be. Sarah doesn't like mention it, but of course I highly doubt she had a stopwatch out, you know, timing it and stuff like that. So I don't know, let's just say there's 2 minutes or something, and then we get that opening thing, and that fight scene that we got, which is about 3 minutes. That's about 5 minutes in total, which I guess lines up with something that then would cut to the title card, which Sarah says happens like after the whole solar flare thing happens with you know, Superman going at Doomsday. Now, my initial thoughts on this is that I'm not surprised that there's flashbacks here, because this is clearly going to be the way they're going to include Tyler Hoechlin as Clark, maybe Clark mainly, but also I guess some Superman as well in this early part of the season, because I don't think they're going to kill Superman, I guess hypothetically, in the first episode, maybe the second episode because it's a 2-part premiere, but we'd assume the first episode, and then he's back 2 seconds later. There's going to have to be some mourning period where he's not there, which allows the characters to develop in certain ways, whether it's for positive things like Jordan, I would assume, but also even character like Jonathan and Lois who'll be, you know, struggling and trying to find their way following the death of their father, aka Superman. But it is interesting that they're really implying like a sex scene. I don't think they're going to show it here, obviously, because it's on network TV, but obviously it's heavily implied that that's going to happen based off that little intro thing before we cut to space. But I am intrigued just in these opening, I guess the opening 2 episodes, like on that October 17th, I think it is, where we get the 2-hour premiere or the 2-episode premiere, how much of that is flashbacks, or if we really do stay in the modern day, you know, outside of these little things like we're getting here with the, you know, flashback into like when Clark's mum was still alive, for example, and they're in the farm. But I wonder if we'll stay more in the present day, and then once we get past that initial death of Superman and maybe the episode after that, then maybe they delve into some flashbacks. But I think we're probably going to get a lot of flashbacks just so they can include Clark and maybe Superman, but just I guess specifically the actor Tyler Hoechlin. But next, Sarah described the major talking points in regards to the storyline for this season from the panel itself, which featured the 2 showrunners of Todd Helbing and Brent Fletcher, as well as you'd expect, Superman and Lois themselves, Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch. Now, a decent amount of the panel, at least what I could tell, was a lot of reminiscing on the show as a whole, and they didn't really dive too much into the storyline, though Sarah describes what was said, but I guess they just didn't want to spoil too much of what was coming our way, which I guess you can understand, though I guess some would argue, well, hold on, they spoiled that Superman dies, which would be, imagine if you went to the premiere not knowing Superman was going to die, but then I mean, like, Doomsday's there, you know, you connect, you know, 1 + 1 is 2, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but this is what Sarah was able to note down from what they were able to tell us about the storyline for this season. Because I know you're all curious, I know I have to share what was said about the boys and their story arcs this season. The answer: nothing. The closest thing that was said was that this season isn't really Reign of the Supermen, and more just their own take on the death of Superman's storyline, so take that how you will. The only real things that were said about the boys were how great Jordan and Alex Garfin were in the chemistry reads, and the I think because Jordan and Alex Garfin plays Jordan, and then Michael Bishop plays Jonathan. That might be misworded. Anyway, oh no, I think it might be Jordan Elsas in regards to the original actor for Jonathan. Anyway, I'm getting confused there. Anyway, let's restart that. The only real things that were said about the boys were how great Jordan and Alex Garfin were in the chemistry reads, and the story we all know about Michael Bishop's very quick turnaround from chemistry read to filming and how gracefully he handled it, and how Todd based some of their personalities off his own sons. I think we might have already had that. I think Todd Helbing might have said that, or at least his experience as a parent. Maybe that's what he said. But I think I remember hearing something about how you know, he based like the relationship there and obviously the personalities, as I said there, off his own children. Truly not much about the storyline of the season was revealed at all, except that Tyler did say that all the recurring cast members, every time they appear, have a meal of a storyline for their episodes. And just a side note, it's not included here from Sarah, but I did read somewhere else in like another interview, which it was just like passed by, so I didn't really include in a video. But they sort of admitted that they used the side characters or the former series regulars that are going to be showing up this season almost to like stretch out the story and to fill the gaps of the story, because just how a network TV schedule works, you just can't have Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch working every single day of the week and being on screen every single moment. It just didn't work, and also stretching out the storyline is just how they did. So they almost admitted that they used those characters for that purpose. But now heading into this final season, they made sure that then when they appear on screen, they're not just being there to say, oh, how's the weather? Like, they're there to actually push their storyline to its finish line, depending on wherever that is throughout the season. Lois's cancer hasn't magically gone away and is still very much a part of the season and has some payoff. So I'm intrigued to see what that means. Obviously, I didn't expect them to just throw it away and just never mention it again. But I guess it just depended. Sorry, I guess like how heavy its presence is, and I don't think it's going to be take over. Obviously, last season was where the focus is, but you still expect them to acknowledge it and do something with it, at least in regards to Lois and her day-to-day life. And Lex's rage is incredibly justified, and Michael Cudlett's kills it. So and I said this in my trailer, he's probably the most, or the like trailer breakdown, footage breakdown that we've talked about this season so far. He's the thing I'm most intrigued by, because of course we got him last season, but it was like a taste test. It was like, okay, here's Lex, and the finale stuff with him, and even I think was it the penultimate episode as well, was great. So I'm excited to see what they do with Michael Cudlitz and Lex Luthor this season. But that's unfortunately all that was said, but I assume that there wasn't much because there wasn't really much coming out when the panel was on and stuff. Of course, the sneak peek that we got, everyone, like a lot of people talking about that, but there wasn't a lot of stuff in the panel outside of some of the major stuff like a new suit and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really it to talk about. So if you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this, anything you think, you know, in regards to any theories and stuff based off this, or just what you're looking forward to the most, let me know. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.